As we gather, I ask all of you to ask yourselves critically, what is the purpose of this protest? I hope that the first thing that came to mind was to listen to Black voices and to better understand the Black experience. Just looking at this crowd, we're a majority ally crowd. We're a majority ally protest. How can we be better allies? How can we be better listeners? And how can we be better advocates for the Black people in our community and also Black Americans across the nation? What can we do to shift this community? What can we do to leverage our privilege to make some concrete change? I hope that is the question that is on your mind, especially non-Black allies today. Just some logistical points. There's 2 tables there. They have supplies, food, snacks, posters, masks if you need them. If you're able to carry supplies while we march, that'd be great. So you can pick up supplies in your backpack before we start, when we actually leave to march. And lastly, I want to talk a little about safety. This is really important. I noticed that there are people filming, there are people taking pictures. Please take picture of the back of people, but not their faces. Know that if someone's identity is linked to this protest, it can be potentially dangerous for them. So please be mindful of how you document. Second, when we are marching, please be also mindful of your privilege and the safety of other people here. There are people who are more at risk of police violence here, and yes, there are going to be police probably when we march. So I would push us to have a barrier if we could between if things were to escalate, not that they would because this is peaceful, but if someone on not our side were to escalate, please be mindful of how you can protect other people who are attending today. Lastly, if we see anybody causing trouble, if we see people who are being violent towards protesters, film them and distance yourself away, but do not engage. All right? This is going to be a peaceful protest. We're going to make our voices heard, but I hope all of us can stay safe. With those opening remarks, I would like to introduce our first 2 speakers, Eddie and Joey Wilson, who are brothers in the community.
Hello, I'm Eddie Wilson, and this is my brother Joey. I'm here to speak of how our people have felt through these times and really just the words that need to be said. How many times can one tell themselves, I'm okay? It's unfortunate I've convinced myself that very lie at least 5 times a day. Us Black men live the fastest of lives, a child with no childhood. Us Black men live the fastest of lives, a child with no childhood, no time to remember lullabies. It's a sad world when a child must tell himself, don't cry. But he's built different. This ain't no pity party. This is just a regular child who's treated like he's 40. Responsibilities of a man put on a child's back, but this is something normal for a child who is Black. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I just wanted to thank everyone for coming out. Yes, of course, majority of people here are allies, but in all honesty, I couldn't envision anything more beautiful than a community coming together to fight for our rights, to fight for us, to show us that you care too. So I wanted to show you guys and tell you guys how much I appreciated you before I read my poem. Of course, once again, my name is Joey Wilson. Many people don't know me here. I wrote these poems about a year and a half ago, around that time. It was out of my frustrations after being, quote-unquote, randomly selected again at an airport. It was just one of my last straw situations, something many of us have felt in this, in this community who are fighting for our rights. Another last straw situation, and I wrote these poems to show my emotions, and I thought it was right to share with the community. So I want to thank you again for the people assembling this, for asking me to share. Some say the truth hurts. I say the lies hurt more. Lies can destroy one's image. Lies can make a kid hate the world he once adored. thrown to the wolves with the label fresh meat. A boy doesn't know how to react. A boy is only 17. You can't attack a pit bull and call it dangerous after it bites back. If the pit bull was any other, the correct response would be to attack. You put a boy in a cage and tell him, be quiet. Why? Well, son, that's just how life is. Fuck that. A boy wants to know why. But what the boy doesn't understand is simply his color on the outside. What's that got to do with who I am? The boy asked himself. You don't even know me. You judge me like some ugly book on a shelf. A boy asked the world, why can't my life just be as sweet? And the boy responded, yo, people only good for murder, sports, rap, and weed. The boy responded back, but world, that ain't me. And the world responded back with, listen, boy, that's just what you have to be. The boy now getting filled with anger. The owner now frightened by the pit bull in the cage. The boy now filled with rage. The owner now frightened by the pit bull in the cage. First off, don't call me boy, because that ain't me. My mother gave me a name. You will call me Joey. Those are the voices of our people. Those are the cries of black children across America. Those are the cries of myself, and I know myself, I haven't even dealt with some struggles that some black kids in America have dealt with. Poverty that I've been dealt with, being abused like some kids have been dealt with. I have a good life, but I still live with these struggles. So, that's why we're here to fight for the injustice, to fight against police brutality. I've heard stories from a young boy at the age of 2 as soon as I can remember. My dad told me, and no boy should have to live through this. I don't want to tell my son, you are a nigga. And excuse my language, but it's necessary. He told me that, not to tell me that because I am, but he said, you are a nigga. That's how you will be treated. And I want that to hit everyone because at the age of 2, as long as I can remember, that's one of the first things I remember. That's how kids grow up. That's what we have to let be our realities. And it can't happen anymore. My great grand uncle, my Uncle Billy, was the first police chief officer in the city of Evanston in Chicago. He got an email saying that if his grandfather showed up to his graduation from the president Hoover, that he wouldn't be allowed to graduate. The system is fraud, and that's what we're fighting against. My father has told me stories of the police brutality he's had to fight against. Him having to come defense to his brother almost being arrested. Imagine having me to come up to my brother and saying, please leave him alone. In my cries, and then 15 more cops show up and tackle me down, put their knees on my neck, and take me to jail. If it weren't for my Uncle Billy being in his position as a police chief, my dad would have been locked up to this day, and Eddie and I would not be here to speak our truth. So that's what we want to hear. That's what we wanted to say today. So thank you very much for your time.
I am a black mom. I am a mother of 2 black sons. I had 2 black sons. I look out and see the reflection of the faces of my sons' friends and their families. I see the circles that both my sons, Masai Jones and Macon Jones, moved in for the last 22 years. They moved in these circles because of the activities that they were involved in. Our piano recitals took places in the churches around here for 7 years. The sports that each of my sons both took up, my younger son, Macon Jones, played ice hockey and my older son, Masai Jones, gymnastics, for most of their young lives, brought them into this neighborhood and the surrounding neighborhoods where their teams and peers and families live. In high school, both boys enrolled at Bellarmine College Prep, not too far from here. Their faces were the only faces that they saw in most of their classes. My sons stood out at events and activities because their faces were mostly the only black faces in these places. This was the world that they were raised in. We thought that we were preparing them for the world outside of our home and outside of Silicon Valley. A world that we knew that would have the same demographics as the sports that they chose in ice hockey and gymnastics and the classrooms at Bellarmine, where the higher they rose in academia and the world of business would be a reflection of the demographics of their peers and teammates. A world where they could thrive and live successful lives as black men in America. My older son graduated from Bellarmine in 2016 and decided to move to Long Island, New York to attend university at Hofstra. He studied English literature. Remember, I told you I had two sons. Almost 2 years ago to this day, on June 14, 2018, my older son, Masai Jones, died of suicide at our home not too far from here. He was only 20 years old. Masai was a poet, a lyricist, a musician, a composer, and most of all, he was my son. 1 week after his death, his brother and friends found among his writings and poems and essays how disillusioned he was about the reality of life and the injustices of being a black man in America. He wrote from a deep and dark place because he knew that even if he tried his best and was ahead of his peers, it was never the same. The playing field was never even, not for a black woman or a black man in America. In one of his poems on racism, A List of Convenient Answers, my son Masai Jones initially penned a diet racist. He wants us to examine our own prejudice on race, more specifically on blacks and the prejudices that systematically keeps blacks and people down as a race. A List of Convenient Answers by Masai Jones. And I want you to pay attention. This was written in 2017. I don't see race. I treat all people the same is a convenient answer. It allows the majority to ignore racism and keep the moral high ground. I'm okay with immigrants, but just not illegal immigrants. Is a convenient answer that forgets that this country was founded by illegal immigrants who tortured, raped, and killed the legal residents of America, the Native Americans, which is classic European colonialism. All lives matter is a convenient answer to Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is the ebony outcry for Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray, and any other victim in this vicious cycle, today George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, that all lives matter tries to cover up. But I can't be racist. My black friend is, my best friend is black, is a convenient answer. But I'm sorry to be the one to break the news. You can still be racist, just no one takes the time out to call you out. Because we've all heard the same excuses. Catchphrases and convenient answers that only a diet racist would give. Powerful words from a beautiful son. We need to examine our own definition of racism. The dialogue needs to change. We need to change. Change begins with each of us, the way we speak, the way we think, the way we act, wherever we are and whenever we can. Thank you.
My name is Deborah Anderson. I am a black woman. I am a strong woman. I'm an auntie. I'm a mama. I'm a mommy. And I am not afraid. I am not afraid. I am not afraid. I tried talking and talking and talking, and still the violence persists. But today, when I see all of you standing with me and my community and every black person in America, I have hope. I was asked to speak, and I found somebody who was younger and stronger and braver than me. And she's young and she's full of energy. She's a visionary. She's a community activist. She's a truth seeker. She speaks truth to power. She is Lorena Cuffey. Come and tell us what you got. Come and tell us what you got.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. It means a lot. My name is Lois Lorena Yolanda Inez Montgomery Luden Cuffey. I am named after all of the women in my father's life, who none of which I knew or even got to know about until last month. Because my father, you see, is a black man living in America. He's an alcoholic. He married a white woman who's of Eastern European descent. She's the daughter of Holocaust survivors. So even within my own family, I was not accepted. Within my own community, I was one of the only people that looked like me. Even within my own household, I was the only girl. I was the middle child. And so my whole life I have struggled with my identity. But when you look at me, you see a little black girl. And I had to be faced with that harsh reality a few times in my life. And so I'm grateful that you're here to hear my story today. I hope that I can connect with you in some way. See, I think why you're here today is because we all experienced trauma together in these last 90 days. We've been shut in, cut off from contact with one another. But we need each other. We're human beings. We're created to connect. And when you witness that hopeless man crying out for his mom and pleading for his breath, where his spirit lives, you felt him. I hope you feel me today. I have struggled with depression because someone judged me. I'm a golfer. I was at the golf course, and they judged me and said, "What are you doing here? You don't belong here." And it took me out because I'm like, you don't even know me. To know me is to love me. And I've struggled with depression. And I thank God for saving my life. I am a survivor of suicide because I didn't feel like I was valued. I didn't feel like I mattered. And that's what the movement Black Lives Matter is to say Black people matter. We feel in this country like we don't matter. We're shut out. We're looked over. We're left behind. We are marginalized. And we all know this, right? So I thank you for being here. By being here, each and every one of you is leading this movement. I want to just share something I wrote so I can kind of keep my thoughts on track here. Right now, from nothing, who I am is a daughter of the Most High, equipped with passion, purpose, peace, and absolute love. For only love can conquer hate. I am the possibility of Dr. King's dream, and I will quote him for a moment. I say to you today, my friends, that in spite of the difficulties and frustrations of this moment, I still have a dream. We will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all God's children. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brother and sisterhood. We refuse to believe that the bank of justice is bankrupt. We cannot walk alone. And as we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall march ahead. We cannot turn back. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all people are created equal. May he rest in peace. I say to you to be judged and juried not by the color of our skin complexion, but by the content of one's character. This is where we must be, people. I am creating the possibilities for each and every one of us and our lives to be with the same assurances of enjoying life abundantly, living in liberty, and pursuing happiness. 2 years ago in Miami, I was meeting the ambassador to the European Union. And as I walked out from the building and I got in my car, I rolled down my window and I reversed. There was a campus police officer who wanted me to stop, and he jumped in the window of my car and tried to take the keys out of the ignition. And here is the police officer in my lap, and I'm freaking out. "What are you doing? Get away from me," I said. and my instinct kicked in. I put the car in drive and I just drove away. He called for backup. They swarmed on me. And it could have been me. It could have been me that would not be here to share my story. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all the names. Could have been me, Lorena Cuffey. But by the grace of God and a $10,000 loan from the one financially fit person in my life, my baby brother, I survived that tragic incident with the Florida International Police Department, Florida International University Police Department, the Miami-Dade County Jail, and the Florida's prosecutor's office. I couldn't even drive for Uber people while I was fighting the case. I couldn't even drive for Uber. They made it seem, they charged me with 3 felonies. They said that I was a violent police beater. I didn't have the confidence to apply for a job after Uber denied me. But thankful, I'm so thankful. I have a community of supporters. I have a church that I'm a part of. And, you know, it wasn't much, but they paid me. I was able to eat. I was able to provide for my child. I was able to leverage everybody that's close to me. And I survived. And here I am today. Imagine those who maybe are not as resourceful as me, who are not as connected as me, who have to go through a system of injustice and never perhaps come out of it. They get caught. So you're asking, what can you do? What can we do? What can I do? I say to you, we can create any possibility for ourselves and our lives. Identify the sphere of influence that you have. Each and every one of you has influence. Again, just by being here right now, you are a leader and you're leading the people who are watching you. Stop when you see a police officer who's supposed to be doing his job, and he may be interacting with a person of color. Stop and watch him to make sure he's doing his job correctly. We vote the sheriff. We vote who becomes sheriff. We vote who becomes prosecutor. We vote. Exercise your right to vote. Use your power. May we each lead by example. Never forget, you are you. You, me. I am what I have been waiting for. I have the power to make a change. You have the power to make a change. We have a power to change the story of this country, to change the systems that we have created. We can change the systems that we have created. We can create a whole new system. So I leave you with this word of hope that comforts me, and it is a scripture from the Holy Bible. Praise to the God of all comfort. Praise to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, for we have a long road ahead. Amen. God bless you.
Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? They're younger, they're stronger, they're braver, they're smarter. started. They're going to change the world. Our next speaker will be Ruby. She's powerful, she's intelligent, and she's beautiful. Get over here, Ruby. History in the making. History in the making. Tell everybody 50 years from now, I was there the day that Ruby spoke.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ruby Khan. I'm an Indian and Afghani Muslim, and I'm the former Vice President of the NAACP Youth Division. I'd like to thank you all for being present in these times of unrest. It is important now, more than ever, to show up. We are here for George Floyd, for Breonna Taylor, for Ahmaud Arbery, for Trayvon Martin, and for every innocent Black life that was taken away too soon as a result of an innately unjust institution that claims to protect us. In light of this, I'd like to remind us of a few things. Number one, policing is an inherently racist institution. The origins of policing can be traced back to slave patrols, where white citizens would hunt down and return slaves to wealthy white landowners. The evolution of policing has continued to embody pre-civil rights era mentality. Number two, it would cost $20 billion to eliminate homelessness, $34 billion to educate every American. But we spend more than $100 billion on policing. $100 billion. It is time us as taxpayers acknowledge where our money is going. We urge for the reallocation of resources into community-based initiatives, such as a police oversight committee. Number three, for all of my non-Black people of color, recognize the privilege you have. Do not fail to recall that Martin Luther King spearheaded the Civil Rights Act of '64, which gave way to the Immigration Act of '65. Allowing all of us to immigrate to this country. We are here because of protests like these. It is nothing short of our responsibility, then, to stand with our Black brothers and sisters. I'd like to depart with a quote from the Holy Quran that I grew up reading time and time again. Whoever kills a human being shall be looked upon as though they had killed all of mankind. Let's take care of one another, you guys. We all bleed the same color. Thank you.
Read for Ava. She is full of hope. She's full of courage. She's full of strength. Come on up here, Porvy, and let us have
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here. This is a speech written by my best friend Ava Simonthorpe. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it here today, so she asked me to read it for her. For as long as I can remember, in school when we learned about the civil rights movement and segregation, they made it seem as if it disappeared overnight and that Blacks were living as equals amongst the rest of the population. This is far from true. Some people don't understand what is happening due to a lack of education and ignorance. We spend all our time in history at school talking about empires conquering native lands and how they founded it themselves. We nearly talk about what happened in the Congo and colonialism in Africa, but we celebrate Columbus Day. Stop teaching Black kids that their history is not important. They need to know what happened. They need to know what happened in order for them to appreciate the life they have today. Racism isn't a thing that happened overnight. It has been around for so long that it is being normalized in America, and that is not okay. Some people are saying if you don't like it, then leave. But you got this land by stealing it from the natives already living here, which you would know if you opened any history book. Judging people based on the color of their skin is degrading and just morally wrong. We have a president who is supposed to be the leader of our country and be our representative voices, who is making a mockery out of us and who is racist predator, and you still want to follow him? to be able to live my life without fear of never coming home again and to not be hated because of the way I look. And on that note, I will leave you with this. I wish you appreciated me just as much as you appropriate my culture. Once again, that was written by my friend Ava Simonthorpe.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mary Celestin. I'm an Archbishop Mitty alum, and I'm a rising senior at Harvey Mudd College. I'm an engineering major. That's a little bit about me. Thank you. Wow. Amber invited me here to talk to you guys a little bit about San Jose Strong. I'm super excited and surprised that so many people are here. Bear with me. I'm running on both a very little sleep and completely winging this, so stay tuned. But for those of you guys who don't know, San Jose Strong is an online platform that launched yesterday of ways to get involved in the community and to support San Jose. And I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about how it came to be and ways that you can get involved. So last week, I live, for anyone, oh, nobody knows, but I'm from downtown San Jose. I live off of 4th Street, so I'm right by City Hall. And so last Friday, when all the protests were starting, the only reason why I knew they were starting was because they were literally walking by my apartment. And my mom was like, "Why aren't you up there?" And I was like, I didn't know it was happening. I'll go up there right now, grab my skateboard and mask, and start heading out with everybody. But as news began to circulate about ways for people to get engaged in downtown San Jose and just in San Jose in general, I started to notice that there was so little information being shown of how people could get engaged or what was going on. So I had lots of friends messaging me what's even happening downtown? What are people doing? Is it safe? My parents won't let me go downtown because they say it's super dangerous there. And I was like, whoa, what? I was just walking with 100 super peaceful people in solidarity with cars honking outside and with their signs up, and restaurant owners outside with fists raising in support and solidarity of the Black Lives Matter movement. We're all here in this together. I don't know what you've been listening to or what news you've been hearing, but we have something really cool going on. And so I decided to make a platform, a guide called San Jose, Let's Get to Work, a guide to activism in San Jose, because I don't know about you guys, there's so much information outside everywhere. It can almost feel like there's too much, there's too much going on, there's an oversaturation, you don't really know what to do, you don't know how to get involved, maybe you can't go and protest, maybe you look at the 200 petitions to sign and you start signing them and just start feeling really defeated about our system and our country and what's going on. And so I was thinking that it would be a really great idea to start on the city level. I love San Jose, and I love living in the San Jose, Silicon Valley area and all the opportunities that it has had for me and my family. And so with this guide, I had opportunities for people to engage in civil disobedience. Local businesses in South Bay, they're doing awesome stuff for Black lives, Black businesses that people can get engaged in. And so I uploaded this guide and got a lot of support. And thousands of people were liking it and DMing me about their ideas, things that they wanted to get involved. And I was like, wait, this is really, really cool. People wanted a platform to engage. So me and some friends teamed up together. We released a second guide to similar support. And then I was like, I can't keep having this on my main account. We need our own platform. We need our own page. So yesterday we launched San Jose Strong. So we're on Instagram and we're on Twitter. You can stay informed. We have a website called sanjosestrong.card, with the 2 R's.co, where if you go on the website, you can submit your skills. Everybody has something they can offer. I've had people who are graphic designers, medics, programmers, everybody, you name it, reaching out with their skill sets and ways that they can get involved. If you want to know about protests and where they're happening, when they're happening, we have a spreadsheet that's being continually updated of ways that you can know what's going on. If you want to support Black lives in South Bay, we have a spreadsheet with organizations reaching out that we're updating and ways that you can stay engaged. We have calls to action, easy website links where you have pre-written messages to send to your council. You don't know what district you are? We have an easy link to find out what district you're in to contact your councilman. And we're working with, thank you. And we're working with really cool people from all over San Jose to stay engaged. Yet just yesterday, 4 San Jose citizens were reaching out to me talking about the budget. So, we put them into a group chat. We had a San Jose budget analyst, fact checking everything. And yesterday we released a guide on defunding San Jose Police Department, but really focusing on supporting our community. We're defunding our libraries. And so the council meeting is on June 15th. And we have the power to say, wait a second, we really want to fund our public libraries that are doing awesome things for the community. We want our councilmen to support that, and we have the ability to tell them. So we're going to be continually rolling out new information on our page and on our site. Later today, we're going to be releasing a documented guide on how to have your representatives remove immunity clauses for police. That's what really is allowing them to get away with all these things. So if you really want to stay informed, please follow us on San Jose _strong on Instagram, or San Jose. If you type in San Jose Strong, it'll come up on Instagram or Twitter. And we have our website as well linked in our profile. Share it to your friends, and stay engaged. We're hoping to do really, really cool things. Another cool thing coming up soon. I have so many things, so I'm just gonna say this last one is, I don't know about you, if you guys knew about this, but there's a really awesome book called African Americans of San Jose and Santa Clara, specifically on the history of Black Americans here in South Bay. And so we have that book resourced as well. And recently, earlier today, the professor, she's spent the past decade learning about Black Americans in the Northern California. She reached out, and so we're going to be able to give out signed copies. You can stay tuned. More things are going to be in store. But, I hope everybody's staying as safe and sane as you can be. Whenever I ask anyone how they're doing, I'm like, for as well as you can be, because no one's really doing that great right now. But really, just turn to your friends. Think of cool ways that you can get engaged, cool ways that you can get involved. San Jose is strong. We're here to support, and I really think that San Jose is a city. We're the 10th largest city in the country. I think that we can be the place to really reinvent what our community is and what it is directed for, and how we want to live as a connected unit. I mean, just look at how many of you guys are here today. This is amazing. It's amazing. And so thank you so much for listening to me speak at you, and for listening to all these speakers and coming out here today and showing up. And yeah, so I'll be like, I don't know, over there. You can talk to me. I'll be here for a little bit if you have any questions, any ideas. And also, we're a living document. We're not perfect. We're trying to stay as informed too. So, as well, if you're on the page and you notice something, you think something's wrong or something's misinformed, please let us know. We want to stay up to date and be continually, iteratively evolving with you guys. And yeah, so thank you very much. My name is Mary Celestin again, and please support San Jose Strong.
Everybody who spoke, stay close, because I need you to be my backup. Anybody who spoke today, stay around close. We have 2 soul brothers, 2 African American men, 2 intelligent, successful, educated men, 2 guys who have been all through this battle and never turned away, never flinched. And when I travel, I like to travel with 2 big brothers so they can help me in case something go down, okay? I want to introduce to you Coach Maurice Baker and Marcus Butler. Come on and tell them what you got. Come on now, come on. It's the truth.
How's everybody doing this afternoon? My name is Marcus Butler. This is my brother Maurice Baker. This is a really interesting time that we're in. I don't think any of us have ever seen anything quite like this before. Maybe some of our parents and grandparents have. But as far as we go, this is a very, very unique time. My hope, above anything else, is that we take advantage of it. So I don't know how many of you guys enjoyed stories when you were little, but I used to love them. And people used to tell me all kinds of stories. And matter of fact, in in African culture, and excuse me if I pronounce it wrong, but they had people called griots or griots who would tell stories. That was their main purpose, was to tell the stories of the whole tribe. And what would happen is when that person got ready to transition on, they would give that story to somebody else, and they would give it to the next person, and they would give it to the next person. The reason why I bring that up is this. As a black man in this country, we all have stories. We all have stories, just like everybody else. And some of those stories aren't always the greatest. I'll tell you, as far as I go, the first time I can remember, I was 20 years old. And originally, me and my brother are from East Palo Alto, California. So big up to East Palo Alto, right? Yeah. So I can remember being about 20. And as a kid, you give a kid a 1971 Mustang, and, you're going to kind of enjoy it a little bit. So had my Mustang, and I'm driving over the bridge from East Palo Alto to Palo Alto. Get into Palo Alto, I got a friend of mine with me who was, she was El Salvadorian. So we're sitting in front of a park, and we're just talking. And 3 police officers pull up at the park, ask her, is she okay? Which she was. And basically told me without telling me that I needed to get back on the other side of the tracks. Which, the whole thing is, that's not an experience that a lot of us black men, a lot of us have had that experience. But over time, as time goes on, these experiences build up. Again, maybe 24, 25, I'm in Oakland. And actually ended up getting beat up by the police while I was in Oakland for absolutely no reason. I guess I was just out too late. Years later, I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm sitting in front of my apartment complex, and I'm not gonna say that I can laugh at this, but I kind of can, because they say that we all look alike. But what ends up happening is I'm sitting there and I'm playing chess. I love to play chess. I'm playing on my phone, and 8 police cars pull up, draw their guns on me, and the whole thing I'm thinking is like, okay, so in order for me to show you who I am, I have to go in my wallet and I have to get my ID out. So I told the officer, I'm like, hey, look, I'm going in my pocket, I'm gonna get my ID out. He let me do that, give him my ID, showed him, and he's like, well, you look just like the guy that, such and such and so and so. And then he proceeds to show me the picture like I wouldn't believe him, which I kind of didn't, because, it is what it is. So he shows me the mugshot and all of that kind of stuff, and outside of being bald and having a beard, wasn't too much resemblance. My mother could probably attest to that. So saying that to say this, we all have stories, and in me sharing these stories with you, I'm not asking you to share them with anybody else, but just keep them in the back of your mind. Keep them in the back of your mind, and just realize at the end of the day that, number one, we all belong here. Every last one of us belongs here. We all have different religions, different cultures, different backgrounds, different things that you might not understand and I might not understand, but the best thing that you can do, the most important thing you can do, is ask a question. Ask a question. If there's something that you don't understand, ask a question. And before I give the microphone to my brother, I'm going to say this before. If you haven't already, take time to go to a community that's not like yours, with people that don't look like you, that don't do and eat and do all of the same things that you do. Meet somebody that you wouldn't typically or necessarily meet, because everything is relative. It all works together, and none of us are islands. We're like dominoes in this thing. You see how something in Minneapolis spanned all the way over here, and now we're sitting here right now, right? I don't know. I just, like I said, it's a really interesting time. This is something that I never thought that I'd see, and this actually gives me a little hope that things can get better. Y'all take it easy. And now one of the coolest dudes I know, right? Absolutely. My brother Maurice Baker. Thank
Thank you. Thank you. To all the speakers prior to me, great work. More prepared than I am and would be. But I'm just going to say my piece and hope you guys hear me out. My name is Maurice Baker, as they were saying. I'm a black man. This whole situation is tiring, frustrating, it's sad. All the emotions that I went through on that Memorial Day Monday when I saw the video put me in a real bad place. So I kind of just shut down and trying to be trying to be funny. And my brother is better on the microphone than I could ever be, and he's able to feel the crowd and understand. I'm over here trying to deal with the fact that I'm tired of these things happening. I don't want your kids in the future of our country to have to do this again. I don't want to have to do this in a month. I came here today because, of Nurse Deborah Anderson, and because of the fact that she said this was set up by high schoolers. It really motivated me. To be honest with you guys, this is my first protest in the whole 2 weeks that everybody's been protesting. I've been watching, I've been seeing, kind of lurking, as most people would say in the crowd. And I didn't have the words. But, doing some reading and trying to, understand everybody's feelings and everything that's going on while I'm trying to deal with my own kind of made me want to come out and say more. Like I said, I don't want to have to do this again. I don't want you to have to do this again. I hope that behind these protests, you guys actually, and we all, not just you, take this and do something with it, make it actionable. My elders did this once before. The civil rights movement made great traction. Again, we're having more issues, more and more issues. Trayvon Martin, we had a jury that saw fit to let a man go that killed a young black man just for being in the wrong area or looking suspicious. We had Tamir Rice, toy gun. I had a toy gun when I was a kid. I played cops and robbers when I was a kid. Lost his life. That shouldn't be the case. I understand that there are not all bad police out there, but when the good ones don't speak up and don't hold the ones who are bad accountable, we have this situation. So I'm not going to say much more except for the fact that I'm thankful that you guys are all here, and I hope that it doesn't stop from here. I hope that you speak up, speak to your congressmen, you speak to your civil leaders, whoever you need to talk to, so that we can actually make some change and stop this from happening in the future, because our kids don't need to do this again. Thank you.
If I could just say one last thing. My brother is a graduate of Chico State University. I myself attended Tuskegee University in Alabama. Just telling you all that to say this. We've both had a lot of unique experiences. Like I said, we were both born and raised in East Palo Alto, California. And the one thing that constantly continues to happen is that, people have their prejudices. We know that certain people are, you know what I'm saying? Like, the racism exists. I mean, it's there. We realize this. But, I can't stress this enough. Take time to talk to somebody that doesn't look like you, because you never know who you're talking to. You never know that person's background. You never know the type of family that they come from. I mean, my brother and I, we were raised very religiously. Our grandmother and grandfather were like, man, church like every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? And most of the other days of the week. So, I mean, the whole thing is take time to talk to people that don't look like you, because at the end of the day, you never know what you're missing out on and who you're missing out on. And me, myself, personally, I'm guilty of that also. I'm guilty of that also. Not speaking because maybe I don't understand this person or that person. But the only way that understanding is going to come is by actually speaking to people and talking to people and trying to make an effort to understand. Just at the end of the day, make the effort. That's all it is. And like I said before, take time to go someplace where people don't look like you. That is so important, man. I can't explain to you guys how paramount that is. Man, take the time to go someplace and interact with people who don't look like you. It's important. It really is. And, yeah. Thank you very much. You guys have a good one.
I'm Deborah, and I have decided to put a ninth grader on the spot. I have a ninth grader out there. Her sister's name is Ava. She wrote that poem. Allie, get up here. You have to stand up. Everybody who spoke today, circle around this ninth grader. If you spoke today, come and surround this girl. I want to make a circle of everybody who spoke. Let's put a circle of love around this ninth grader. If she got the courage, we got the courage. Come on. If you spoke today, come on, you brothers. Where's Purdy? Purple. Who read the poem? Where's Mary? I want to make a circle around this ninth grader, because if she has courage, I want everybody to say after me, we won't stop.
We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop.
I was going to talk about how what's going on is unacceptable and that everything needs to change. But I shouldn't have to be here.
Can you hear me? Talk loud, like you outside.
I shouldn't have to be here. I shouldn't have to be explaining to everyone that what's happening is wrong. I shouldn't have to explain that I'm scared to go out running, that I'm scared to go out and play with my friends, do anything with my friends, because at any moment in time, a police officer could come up to me and shoot me point blank, and nothing would happen. Because there's cases that we haven't even seen that something like that has happened, and it's unacceptable. I've known since I was in 9th grade that I was different from everyone in my class and everyone in my school. Even though I grew up in Florida, I was still different. I knew that I needed to carry myself and conduct myself differently so that I wouldn't be seen as a threat. I've honestly come to terms with the fact that there was nothing that I could really do to change the fact that people who looked like me were being killed for doing nothing wrong. And I've come to terms with the fact that what's happening is the way that it is. That it is what it is. But it shouldn't be. It was easier for me to feel hopeless and to do nothing than to be angry and not receive change. I truly never thought that the actions that we've been taking as a country and as a world would be taken to stop what's happening. I'm confused on why I'm confused on why we whitewash and sugarcoat America's history. Why do we celebrate Columbus Day? The Native Americans that have been taken and beaten and raped from this country. The slaves that were taken from Africa, from honestly all over the world. This is a disgrace. I shouldn't be a first grader. Why are our kids here? Why do we have to tell them that as a country, the police beat and abuse and kill black people? Why do we have to inform our kids that our ancestors took people with families, people who had a way of life and a culture from their homes to build a nation that we don't even get to be a part of? Why are NFL players being fired and treated differently for kneeling at the flag? Why are police and the military wreaking havoc during peaceful protests as an excuse to arrest and abuse protesters? And the blackout in D.C., where there was no movement in D.C., where hundreds, thousands of people have gone missing, and everything is okay in D.C. Honestly, the last thing that I can say is, as friends, as my teacher, as my leader, as whatever you are to me, we can disagree about things like TV shows, movies, and music genres, but we cannot disagree about basic human rights.
I want to see Amber from the school, from the school. The God's two daughters come too. Will Amber come? Come on over here. Amber doesn't know me. She knew me because of a friend of a friend. But I want to give her a lot of respect and a lot of honor for bringing together people from all different parts of this country to be here today. This is history in the making, and we won't stop.
We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop.
We won't stop in this change. I hope that in hearing these stories and hearing these voices, you truly are convinced that we really cannot stop. Before we continue to not stop and march, we have a few logistical details. Can we give another huge round of applause and thanks for all of our Black speakers for receiving their emotional labor, for hearing their stories, for preparing. Planning this protest wasn't easy, but can you imagine how difficult it would be to be around all these people and share some of the most intimate stories
like closest to your heart, closest to your soul, please, please remember these voices and remember these narratives and think about them not just today as we march, but also in your day-to-day lives. Think about how we can be better allies, how we can really shift the community towards greater good.